Welcome to your resistance band mini flows class. Today we're going to focus on the hip joint and glutes. There's a ton of range of motion available within the hip joint. We can flex, extend, abduct, adduct, rotate outward and inward. So we want to focus on strengthening that joint throughout all those planes of motion. And the glutes play a big role in doing many of those movements. For equipment, you're going to need a mini band loop. Now I have two on hand. I'm going to use a heavy one for our first flow because it's going to be around our thighs. But for our standing work, I'm going to use the lightest band I have because you want to be able to get a decent range of motion out of it. You will also need something to lean against for one of our flows. I'm going to be using a stool. You could use a chair that has a high back, or you could even use a wall. You just want to be able to put your hands on something or against something in a hinged position. Now, for the structure of this class, it's broken up into 3 flows. They're all between 1:45 and 2.5 minutes long. You do them twice on the right and then twice on the left. When you complete the sequence, you rest for 15 seconds before repeating. In between sides, right and left, you get 30 seconds to recover. And when you're completely done with a flow, you get about a minute in between each of them. And during that time, I will show you what to expect from the upcoming flow. All of this work is low impact and very joint friendly. There's no jumping around. And we're going to start class with a warm up focusing on mobilizing through the hips. And we will finish with a quick guided cool down and stretch. If you love this class, I made a whole group of them for Patreon this month. Another one focusing on hips and glutes, one focused on core, another one focused in on the shoulder joint. You can become a Patreon member at patreon.com/Nicole Pearce. Definitely check that out. So with all that said, let's jump right into our warm-up. You don't need the bands for this. We're going to start in a comfortable seated position, so I'm just going to come cross-legged. I want you to reach your arms out to the side, and we're going to start with a little spinal twist. Inhale, grow taller through the spine, and then on an exhale, I want you to twist gently to the right. Inhale, stay in the twist, maybe a little release. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Inhale, back through center. Let's do that twice more. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, little release. Exhale, twist a little deeper. Inhale, back through center. One last time. Exhale, twist. It's coming from your mid-spine. Inhale, little release. Exhale, twist a little deeper, and now hold. Bring your left hand, bring it to the outside of that right knee. Stay in your spinal twist. I'm just going to bend my right elbow for space, and we're going to start to trace circles with that arm. So again, you can keep that arm straight if you have space. I'm just going to whack my couch, so I'm tracing those circles with my elbow. One more this direction, and just switch. Same circles other way. So we want to spend some time mobilizing through the shoulder joint because we will be doing some brief side plank based work today. One more circle. Arms reach out, come through center. Now we're going to do that same thing, other side. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, little release. Exhale, twist deeper. Inhale, back through center. Hands stay in your peripheral vision. Exhale, twist. Exhale, a little deeper. Back through center. Last time. Exhale, twist. Now hold the twist. Right hand comes to the outside of the left knee, and we're going to circle this back arm. Doesn't matter the direction. And again, I'm bending the elbow for space. You can keep the arm straight though. Switch direction of the circles. One more. Bring it back through center, and now we're going to come into a kneeling position. Knees can be wide, heels together. I'm just going to turn to face the side. From here, I want you to reach your arms up overhead, gentle squeeze of the glutes, and we're going to come into a hip hinge. As our hips slide back, you're going to sweep your arms back behind you. And then as you come upright, arms go overhead, gentle squeeze of the seat. We're making sure we're not losing that connection to our rib cage here, so the ribs do not flare open at the top. So flexing through the hip joint, squeeze the glutes, extending through that hip joint. 2 more. Last time. Come upright, and now stay kneeling. I want you to just bring your shins parallel. We're going to come into a little combo, one forearm on top of the other. You're going to mirror me. I want you to take your left foot and step it forward at a 45-degree angle so you're in this open lunge position. There, you're then going to lean over to the left, opening up through the hips. Lunge into it. Come back upright. Replace that knee, same side. Foot plants. Lunge it, back upright, and down. So we're opening up through that left hip joint, but notice the work that your right side glutes have to do to support you as you come into this lunge and then replace the knee. Take it over to the right. Foot steps forward at a 45-degree angle, lunge over to the right. 3 more times. Last time. Both knees down, hands to the mat. You're in a tabletop position. From here, I want you to spread out through your fingers, press the mat away so you're stable through those shoulders. Tuck your toes under, lift your knees to a 1-inch hover. From here, your hips are going to lift up into a down dog and then right back down into that hover, that bear plank position. So we're actively opening up through the hamstrings and the calves here. As the hips lift up, heels press to the mat, knees bend back to that hover. One more time. Next time up, hold the hips lifted. Now I want you to walk your hands in towards your feet, but don't roll up to standing, and then just walk them out, this time all the way to a plank position. Keep that going. I want you to keep the legs as straight as possible so we continue the opening through the hamstrings and calves. But of course, if you're tight through the backs of your legs, bend your knees as needed. One more time. Walk it out to your plank. Hold it here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees come down. All right, I'm going to show you a preview of our first flow. We will start on the mat and then we'll make our way to standing. For this first flow, you're going to have the resistance band around your thighs, few inches above the knees. I'm going to use my heavy band for this one. Use whatever weight works for you. First exercise is going to be a clamshell, so you're laying on your side and you're rotating open and closed. We're then going to hold that thigh up at about hip height at a hover so that there's tension on the band, and we're going to internally rotate, come through center, externally rotate. We'll then find that neutral position again, straighten the leg out to the side, and it'll be a little straight leg pulse from there. To finish, we come into a kneeling side plank position. That top leg is still straight. It is going to tap the floor and it'll lift back up. This is our only flow down on the mat. It is also our longest flow. It is 2.5 minutes long. We'll do it twice on the right, twice on the left. So I want you to mirror me. You're gonna lay down on your left side. You can either have your bottom arm straight or you can have your head in your hand. I have broad shoulders, so I'm gonna do this so that my neck is a little more neutral. Notice when I do this, how my neck is like, grr. So find the position that works for your body. So you want your spine neutral, so kind of line it up with the front or back corner of your mat. And then I want you to hop your shins up so that they're pretty much parallel with that long edge of your mat. Now, depending on your body, you might want to jump them back a couple inches for the clamshell, but what I don't want is this, okay? Your shins are not parallel to that back short edge of the mat. Bring them up. We're going to squeeze the heels together. We're going to come into our clamshell. You're open across the chest, but you can tent your top fingertips. You're going to push your heels in towards each other as you hinge open and then close it back down. Exhale, open and lower. It doesn't have to be a huge movement, all right? Bigger is not better. If I try to open too wide, my top hip is going to roll open. So you're only opening as wide as you can, keeping the top hip stacked over the bottom. Now, it's harder than it may seem sometimes to get the glutes to really fire in this one. So I want you to think, first squeeze the heels together. Second, make a fist with that top right butt cheek. Then the knee starts to move. Coming up, thigh is going to be parallel to the floor. We will find a little lift. Okay, so you're not externally rotated, but you're going to find that lift to start. From this position, we internally rotate and then externally rotate. So you're maintaining tension on that band. Knee angles a little to the floor, a little up to the ceiling. So I'm talking about what the knee is doing, but the movement is really coming from your hip joint, okay? So it's the top of that thigh bone rotating in your hip socket. Get ready to hold that parallel. And now I want you to straighten that top right leg, reach it long. So you're kind of at a 45-degree angle. Once you find it, it's a little pulse up, up. I'm gonna flex my foot. Now don't tuck your tailbone under. If your tailbone is tucking under, I want you to just sweep the leg back a little bit. So instead of being at a 90-degree angle, it can be at more of a 45. Stay long through the waist, so don't sink into this bottom side body. We're gonna prop ourselves up into that modified side plank up next. So I want you to come up onto your forearm, drop your knees back a little bit. Find a kneeling side plank position and reach your right leg long. It's going to tap the floor and it's gonna lift up. It taps, exhale, push against the band. Now we're here for 45 seconds to finish this sequence. Now it's not just about that top right hip. Your bottom, outer left hip and glutes are working as well. Now instead of thinking of getting the leg up as high as you can, I want you to think of reaching it long. Hips are stacked, so don't let yourself roll open. Pull that top hip forward slightly. Almost there. And rest. Okay, you have just 15 seconds. We're gonna do that same thing, staying on the same side. I shouldn't have worn slippery leggings. My band's falling down. All right, come to that laying position, neutral spine, hop the knees forward a little bit. We're gonna start with that clamshell. Squeeze the heels together to open up and close. And again, you can play around with it. If shins lined up with the long edge isn't working for you, try moving the shape back just a couple inches. See if you can get the glutes to fire there, but don't move it too far back, okay? Those heels pressing into each other is so important to get the glutes to fire. Heels squeeze. All right, now lift that top leg up. It starts at neutral, long through the side body, and we find that internal rotation to external. So the range of motion is only as big as that leg can move without the pelvis moving, all right? So the actual hip bones are not moving. It's the thigh rotating within the joint. So your knees don't have to touch. It's not knee to knee, heel to heel. We maintain a little tension on the band. All right, now straighten out that top right leg, but without tucking your tailbone. A little pulse up. Your obliques are playing a big role here. Now notice this top hip is gonna wanna roll back. Mine just did. Make sure you're keeping it stacked. If it's too intense, you just bring the top leg back a little bit, okay? We're gonna come into that side plank up next. You'll take your bottom knee and just hop it back a little bit. Prop yourself up on your forearm, hips lift up, they're square. Flex that top foot, lift and lower. So let's talk about the bottom shoulder for a second. You're not sinking into it, so you gotta push the mat away. And I also want you active in this area under your armpits. So think of drawing the elbow towards your knee. Picture I am standing at your feet and I have that top right foot in my hand and I'm pulling it towards me a little bit, okay? Stay long, so don't just think up, think reach long. Almost done with this side. And rest. Okay, you have 30 seconds to rest while we flip over to the other side. So mirroring me, you're gonna lay on your right side now and that top left leg will be moving. Okay, let's lay down. Again, torso is lined up with the edge of your mat. Hop the knees up. Heels are going to squeeze together as we clamshell. Heels squeeze in, fire through the top side glutes, and then that knee rotates open. So it's very normal to notice differences between the sides. So maybe on your other side, you could feel your glutes working, and on this side, you're not really feeling them light up. Don't get frustrated. Let's just really focus in on the chain of events. Start the exhale, squeeze the heels together, and then think of squeezing into that butt cheek. and then the knee moves down. All right, now lift that whole top leg as one to a hover, and let's internally rotate, come through neutral, externally rotate. So you can think of it as knee towards knee, heel towards heel, but they don't actually have to make physical contact. I want you to maintain tension on the band as you go. This side's not as smooth for me. Okay, now find parallel, straighten that top leg, find an angle that works for you, and then it's a little pulse up and up, up and up. Doesn't have to be big. Side plank is coming up next. Prop yourself up on that bottom right forearm and move your bottom right knee back a little bit. Okay, let's go. Side plank, forearm down, top leg is long, come into your side plank, and then that top leg lifts and lowers. So when we were doing that previous straight leg lift, we were in a state of hip flexion, and then we were lifting up. Now we are open through the hip joint. Because this is the second side, it is normal to feel your bottom right side glutes a little more than the top leg in this one, because we already worked that side. So don't get frustrated. That is normal. "15 seconds to rest." All right, we are going through this sequence just one final time. You can do it. Let's lay down on that right side. Clamshell to start. Heels squeeze in, fire through the top side glutes, and then that knee rotates open. Now I keep cueing this length through your torso because if you don't engage through your obliques, then as you lift open, often that bottom side wants to lower down. And then that sets off a chain of events where that top hip rolls inward. And I want you to keep the pelvis still. It's all connected, so we can never just focus on the moving body part. All right, lift that leg up to a hover, internal rotation, through to external. Hold parallel, straighten that top leg, and it's a little pulse up, up. So your torso and your leg, they might be at a 90-degree angle in an L shape if you can maintain a neutral spine. If you can't, then you're just going to sweep the leg back a little bit and do your pulses from there. Again, make sure you're not just collapsing into the mat. So stay long. We'll come into the side plank up next to finish. Woo, this one is tough. There we go. All right, prop yourself up on your bottom forearm, swing that back knee, square your hips, reach long through your top leg, it lifts and lowers. You got it. So close to being done with this flow. We will be standing for the remainder of this class, incorporating a little balance work into it now that hopefully your glutes and your hips are feeling fully activated. Mine are definitely talking to me. Final 15 seconds. And done. Awesome. All right, you have a little over a minute to recover while I show you what's coming up in our second flow. For our second flow, we are going to be using our stool, our chair, our wall, our counter, whatever you're using to put your hands on. For the setup of the band, we're going to start with our right leg as the mover again. So I want the band around your left ankle and the arch of your right foot. So this will be your starting position. First exercise, in that hinged position, you're going to press the leg back. You're going to externally rotate the legs. You'll rotate it back down and then you'll bend the knee in. We'll then hold that leg back and externally rotate it, and it'll be a little pulse up and up. Then, maintaining that leg at a slight hover, you're going to sweep it forward and you're going to sweep it back. We are going to finish by just holding that leg swept out to the side. It's going to feel a little awkward, but it's going to be a quick hold. So again, I want the band around your left ankle and the arch of your right foot. You'll notice I've dropped down to my light band for this flow because we're going to need a bigger range of motion. I want your left foot forward. Start with your right foot back a little bit. Square your hips, and then we're going to come into a hip hinged position. So slide the hips back, a little bend to that front left knee. Arms are going to reach forward at a diagonal. Fingertips lightly to whatever object you're using. I then just want you to pick that right foot off of the floor a couple inches. Let's start with that combo. Right foot is flexed. You drive the right heel back. When the leg is straight, you externally rotate back to starting position. So we press, we rotate, we close it, we bend the knee. That external rotation is small. It's the same things we were talking about in clamshell. The hip bones don't move open. It's just that thigh bone rotating. Now hold the external rotation, leg is straight, and it's just a little pulse up and down. Make sure your standing left knee is soft. It is not locked out straight. We're going to come into that sweep next. So holding that leg straight at a slight hover, you sweep it over to the right, and then you sweep it back behind you. You'll notice a little rotation of that thigh bone as it comes to the side, and a little rotation towards the mat as it comes back. Now apply all that same form talk from the lying down position into this standing position. Long through the sides of your waist, so that you're not crunching your body side to side as the leg sweeps. You are stabilizing through that standing left side, so spread out through the toes, really ground down through the foot. We're almost there. We're going to finish with that hold. The leg will sweep out to the side. It doesn't have to be directly to your side. It can be more like a 45-degree angle. Find the point you can maintain and then just hold. Now, are you leaning over to the left a lot? Can you shift a little over to the right? Hold, hold, hold. Don't crunch into the side body. And rest, 15 seconds. All right, we're gonna do that same thing, same side. So this one, in my opinion, it's harder for the stabilizing side than it is for the moving side. All right, let's find that hinged position. Hands on whatever you're using. We press the leg back, externally rotate, parallel, bend the knee in. All right, now hold that external rotation. Leg is long. It's a little pulse up and down. Now your low back is not dipping and arching as the leg lifts up. So use your breath to stay connected to your abdominals. Hold the hover. It's the sweep. Out to the side, back and around. This one is tough. Notice if you're making any compensations as this gets harder, okay? Are you hunching your shoulders? Are you rounding forward? Stay open. Don't lock out through your left knee. We're gonna hold the leg out to the side now and just hold. It's okay if the toes touch the floor, okay? It does not need to be a high hover. Reach your hips back long. and rest. Oh, that one's tough. Okay, you have 30 seconds here. We're gonna switch over to the other side. I'm just gonna move my stool to the other end of the mat so I have space for the sweep. All right, so you're gonna switch the band setup. Now it's going to be around your right ankle, and it's gonna be around the arch or the ball of that left foot. So left leg's the mover, right leg is the stabilizer. Square the hips, find your hip hinge, hands lightly on whatever you're using to balance. All right, that left leg hovers. You drive it back, externally rotate, spiral the thigh back to the mat, bend the knee in. Now you're stabilizing side, that right side. Yeah, most of the weight is gonna be in your heel, definitely, but I don't want you to lift your toes off the mat, okay? They are playing a big role in helping you connect to your glutes and helping you balance. So spread out through the toes and press them into the mat. Hold that left leg externally rotated and long. It's that little pulse, up and down. Now, if keeping your foot flexed through all of this is causing your leg to cramp, then just point your toes instead, okay? Point versus flex changes, okay, sweep now, changes the muscular emphasis a little bit, but it's not super important, so I want you to do what works best for your body. And I should say it's not super important in this instance. There may be times when a point versus a flex is very important. There we go, can't talk. Notice as the leg sweeps forward and back, are you crunching side to side through your torso? Try not to do that. Length, your core is so important here. Coming up, we're gonna hold that leg out to the side and just hold. Reach your hips back long. You're not locked out through that standing right leg. Rest. Okay, 15 seconds rest. We're gonna do that one more time, and then you are done with this particular flow. All right, let's find that hip hinge position. The 15 seconds is not very long, unfortunately, right? Let's do it. You drive the heel back, externally rotate, back to parallel, bring the knee in. So when you press that leg back straight, don't worry about how high it is. I don't want you to go so high that your back changes shape, okay? You don't want to sink in and overarch. All right, let's hold it back and externally rotated, and it's that little pulse. Reach the heel back and make sure you're engaged through your quad on that left side as well. That's gonna help you fire through the glutes if you really hold the legs straight. And the quads are needed to do so. All right, let's start that sweep. We're in our last minute of this flow, okay? You can do it. Now check in on your standing knee. Is it starting to creep forward over your toes? I noticed mine just was. Get it back so it's over your heel. So that might mean you need to walk your hands back like I just did. Get ready to hold that left leg out to the side for our final 15 seconds. Okay, you got it, hold. I know it's awkward holding it out to the side like this. Long through the sides of your body. Reach that left leg long, hold. And done. Whew, awesome job. All right, we won't need the balance object, whatever you're using anymore, so you can move it out of the way. You have about a minute to recover. I'm gonna show you our final flow. For this final flow, I'm gonna continue using my lightest resistance band. It's gonna be around the arches of both of your feet. First exercise is essentially gonna be a single leg squat. The other foot will be on the floor, but the heel will be lifted at the bottom. And then as you come to stand, that non-target side just comes to a slight hover. We'll then hold low in the squat and the other leg will straighten out laterally to the side and then back in, out to the side and back in. We then kind of combine those two concepts, the squat and the lateral movement. We'll start in the squat, and then as we come up, the hovering leg abducts out to the side. We finish by holding standing, and it'll just be that abduction out and in. It's a small movement. So your left leg is going to be the stabilizer. So you're going to spread out through those toes, ground down through them. And then I want you to just lightly have your right foot on the floor, lift the heel up so it's just light through the ball of the foot. And we will start with just that squat, and then the right foot will come off the floor just a couple inches. I'm going to do it with my arms forward, kind of like in the warm-up, at chest height, pressing the forearms into each other so I can connect to that area under my armpits and my back. So as you come up, little lift up of that right foot, and then slide those hips back. So this is not the deepest squat you can go to. Focus on the hinging of the hips back and the squeezing of the glutes as you stand. Okay, now you're going to hold low in that squat position, and your right foot is going to extend out to the side, bring it back in. So the right leg is moving, but I don't want you to forget about the left side. Notice if the left knee is wanting to cave inward as your right leg steps out, don't let it. So it is tracking in line with the toes. So you need to think of kind of drawing this left hip back a little bit so that you stay long through both sides of your waist. Okay, now let's put those two movements together. From your shallow squat position, stand, the right leg straightens and abducts out to the side. It comes in, you squat back down. So I recommend inhaling on the way down and then exhaling so you can connect to your abdominals to help you balance at the top. To finish, we will be standing, and we'll just do that abduction of the straight leg. Okay, find your standing position, but I don't want you to completely lock out through that left knee. Instead of thinking of leaning away from that moving leg, try to get your torso in as close to midline as possible. Easier said than done. And rest. Okay, 15 second stretch. We're gonna do that one more time on the same side. All right, spread out through those left toes, ground down through the foot. Come to the ball of that right foot. It is light. Find the arm position that works for you. You squat. And as you stand, right foot just comes off of the mat a couple inches. You don't have to pull the knee very high. Inhale, hips slide back. Exhale, squeeze the glutes, engage to the abdominals as you stand. All right, hold down, and now that right leg steps out to the side, back in. You're not shifting weight over to the right though. Keep it in the left side. I want you to picture I'm gently pulling both hip bones back a little bit. We'll put the two concepts together coming up next. All right, bring your right knee in, and then as you stand, straighten that right leg, flex the foot, it comes to a hover. Straight leg goes out to the side. As it comes in, hips go back. We squat and abduct. All right, come up to standing. Once you find the position, unlock that left knee, and that right leg is long, and it pulses up. Now I want you neutral through your pelvis, so notice if you're kind of arching into your back. Gentle squeeze of the glutes and engage through the abdominals to keep your pelvis neutral. And done. Okay, 30 seconds to recover. We're going to do that twice on the other side now. Oop, just messed that up. All right, so mirror me. Spread out through those right toes, ground down through that right foot. Shift your weight over to the right. You're just on the ball of the left foot. It is light. We'll come into those squats. Squat it down. As you stand up, lift that left knee off of the mat. So 30 seconds in each of our 4 variations in this flow. It's not about how many reps you get in. I want slow, controlled, mindful movement. So really think about what you're doing. All right, hold it down low next time, and it's that lateral step. Left foot out to the side, but stabilize through your right knee so it is staying pointing straight ahead. Make sure that your hip bones are still parallel to each other so you're not opening up one way or the other. We will put the 2 movements together. Squat, and as you stand, left leg moves out to the side laterally. Sink it back down. Now, if you're having trouble stabilizing on that right side, I want you to check in on your toes and make sure they're not lifted up to the ceiling. Kind of like I mentioned at the start of this, yes, most of the weight is going to be in your heel, but your toes play a huge role in helping you balance. All right, now we hold at the top, and it's just that little abduction. Instead of thinking of leaning over to the right, see if you can shift your rib cage ever so slightly into the midline. Your standing right leg is pretty straight, yes, but don't lock out through the knee here. Rest. All right, 15 seconds to shake it out. We're going to do that just one final time, and then we will cool it down. All right, so we shift weight into that stabilizing right side. Lift your left heel. Squat with a little balance. Hips go back, bend into that knee, straighten. Left leg lifts. Don't worry about lifting your knee really high either. Just foot off the floor a little bit. All right, now hold it low. We have those lateral steps. Reach both hip bones back as you do this, okay? Don't let one creep forward. Sometimes it can be helpful to actually physically touch them and have that tactile cue. We'll stand and add in that abduction. All right, start narrow. As you stand, hover your left leg out to the side. It's small. Squat, stand and reach. All right, final balance challenge. Find the standing position, unlock your right knee, little lifts on that left side, foot is flexed. Final 15 seconds, you can do it. Make sure you're not flaring out through your rib cage, okay? So neutral spine. Whew, as I lose balance. Oh, and done. Awesome job. Shake out those legs. Kick off that band. And I'm going to bring you through some quick stretches. Let's make our way down to the mat in a lunge position. So you can have your right foot forward, left knee down. From here, I want you to square the hips, gentle squeeze of the glutes so that your pelvis is pretty neutral. Creep that front right foot forward a little bit. And then from here, press your pelvis forward so you feel that nice opening through your back left hip flexor. And then I want you to take that back left arm, reach it up, and you're gonna side bend over to the right. Few breaths here. If the side bend causes you to feel this in your low back instead of your hips, then I want you to just stay upright. Come up through center and let's just do the other side. Bring your left foot forward, square your hips, gentle squeeze of the glutes, press the pelvis forward. Right arm will reach up by the ear, and then we're gonna side bend over to the left. Stay here and breathe. Coming upright, we're now gonna come onto our backs for a figure 4 stretch. So I want you to lay down. Let's start with left ankle over right knee. Hands can weave around that right thigh and pull the shape in towards you. Taking a few breaths here. If this is too intense, it might be a big enough stretch just to keep that right foot on the mat as well. So I hope this class was beneficial. So often, by addressing issues within the hip, you notice that you solve other issues that maybe you're having with your knees or ankle stability. So I really find this type of work to be beneficial. All right, now bring your right foot down on the mat. We're gonna keep our legs in this shape. We're just gonna drop the whole shape over to the right so that the left foot plants on the mat. Now, if you don't feel this at all, you might need to hop the whole shape up towards your arm a little bit. If this is too intense, you need to hop the foot down towards the end of your mat instead. No rush, stay here as long as feels good. Sometimes I feel like I could just lay here all day. I love this stretch. But let's go over to the other side. Right ankle over left thigh. Hug the shape in towards your chest. I don't know if you guys can hear that. There's so much construction going on outside my apartment right now. That's just comes with the territory living in the North End though. When you're ready, left foot plants on the mat and then the whole shape is gonna drop over to the left until the right foot comes down. And again, find the position that works for you, either up or down. When you're ready, let's come through center and uncross. Feet about mat's distance apart. Just windshield wipe your knees side to side for a little release. We're going to finish with 2 deep breaths together. I want you to stretch your legs long and arms overhead. And on an inhale, I want you to reach your arms and toes as long as you can. And on the exhale, just relax into the mat. One more time, inhale, stretch, get long, take up space, and exhale, release. All right, that is your class. Awesome job. And again, if you really enjoyed this workout, I have a whole bunch of others just like this that I created on Patreon. You can sign up and become a Patreon member at patreon.com/Nicole Pearce. Every month you get additional classes as well as a monthly workout calendar if that's something you're looking for. And you also have unlimited access to all the previous month's classes. So now we have well over 30 in there. So it's a really good deal for $9.99 a month. All right, end of sales pitch. Have a great week and I will see you Monday.